Hello everybody, welcome back to Planet X News. This is Scott from the Nibiru channel. It is July 31st, 2017. And ladies and gentlemen, just making my daily rounds through some of the different models looking at the sun. And now it seems that each and every day we're making discoveries. Excuse me. And today, once again, we have a discovery. We're looking at the stereo ahead EUVI 304 angstrom view of the sun. And all of you can go to the stereo website. You can punch in the dates. Now, I'm using July 29th through the 30th. And you can let this play. You could adjust the speed, or you can step through the frames. Now normally whenever I'm taking a look at this, I let it play at a medium speed and I'm checking for objects around the sun. And today I found multiple objects near the sun, enveloped in gas clouds. Once again, proving our theories that there are stellar remnants around our sun. And I'm going to show you the photographs, and we're also going to review some information from NASA pertaining to the discovery of brown dwarf stars. And we'll get to that in a minute. But what I'm going to show you here, these are going to be very, very small, but then I'm going to show you the photographs that I screen captured from the stereo ahead 304. So I'm just going to go ahead and start stepping through this. This is the beginning. And I'm just going to point these objects out. Now, here's an object right here, right below my cursor. Now, I've screenshotted all of these, and we'll take a look at them soon. I'm just going to go ahead and step through these. Now, there's another object right here. Very faint to your view. I'm going to keep on stepping through. There's another object right here, very faint in your view. But I'm going to show you what these objects are. Now, once again, you have an object here and another one right here. Now again, I've screenshotted these, so we're going to take a look at them. And as I was going through this, I started to notice these objects. And then we have another one right here. Very faint to your eye, but again, I'll show you what these objects really look like. And if you could notice, a very, very faint, what looks like a white dot, right in the center of this little gas cloud. So as I was going through this, and I only went through one day, the 29th through the 30th. And again, you see this small object right here. Sometimes it's very hard to judge the perspective of how big something is. And again, you folks can go to the stereo website, punch in your dates, and again, I'm using the stereo ahead EUVI 304 angstroms. Let's take a look at the pictures. I'm going to go ahead and pull these up. And you're gonna find this pretty amazing. Now, I just touched up the photographs a little bit so we can bring out more of the color and what's going on. If you pay attention to my cursor, you'll see this white sphere here and another one here. These are enveloped in a gas cloud. These were two objects very close with each other, and these were captured on the stereo ahead 304 today. Very interesting. Now we all know that these brown dwarf stars, they travel in these gaseous clouds. So I've taken away the gas cloud, and again, I don't want this to pixelize too much on your screen, but you can see how faint they are. But they're there. and there's two of them relatively close to each other. How close that distance is, I would not be able to judge. So let's take a look at the next photograph. Now, this was one of these objects captured at the top right-hand corner that I pointed out to all of you. Let's take a closer look. Now, because they're so small, it will pixelate a little bit. I did highlight a little bit of the contrast so we can see the gaseous cloud all around this object. But there is the spherical object, and this has to be one of these brown dwarf stars. Now, again, you know, these objects are enveloped in these gaseous clouds. But there you go. This object was in the upper right-hand corner of the sun. Let's move to the next frame. Now, this one's going to be a little harder to see. Once again, you can see the object right there. And once again, you'll see its gaseous cloud. Now, folks, I know these photographs aren't as clear as others, but whenever you're using the stereo website and you're looking at the sun with those different angstroms, they do tend to get pixelated a little bit. Now, once again, here's the same object in black and white, and you can see what we're looking at right there. And then again, all of the gaseous cloud. Let's move on to the next picture. Now, this is the same photograph, but with its color. Now, again, these are very, very hard to screen capture without them being pixelated. I did the best that I could to keep these as clear as possible. But there you go. You can now see the object. There also looks like there's something right up here, but I really can't make it out. But you can see our object there. And once again, it is enveloped in its gas cloud. Let's move on to the next picture. Now, that photograph was inverted. The inversion, you can clearly see. Very, very dark object right here in the center. And then you can see its gaseous cloud. This object is quite near the sun. Here's another photograph, same thing, just a little more enhancement. You can see our object right there. You can see the envelopment of the gas cloud. Try to zoom in a little bit more for you, but that's about as far as it goes. Once again, very interesting. And all of you can go to the stereo site. You could pull up those dates. You can check it out for yourself. This is just a little more enhancement just to bring out the object. And again, it seems to be something right here. I don't know exactly what that would be. And then you have our lit up object right there in its gas cloud. Now, this is the object that was in the lower right hand corner that I pointed out. I'm going to zoom in. It's going to pixelate a little bit, so just bear with me. But you can see right here. Now, it has pixelated into a square naturally. But here's our object. Here's our gas cloud. The gas cloud is very well defined, and the object right there, it's clear as a bell. Now, I know the clips and the photographs are not crystal clear because they are going to pixelate. This is in black and white, and once again, you can see our object enveloped in its gas cloud. And these are photographs from today, folks. Now, here is the actual screenshot. Again, stereo ahead, EUVI 304 angstroms for today, July 31st, 2017. Time, 16:15 UTC time. There's our object. I put a circle around it, enveloped in its gas cloud. Let's zoom in. And there you go. That's all I can zoom in on this. But it's pretty clear. And there are multiple objects in today's view of the sun on stereo ahead using the 304 angstrom view. Very interesting. Now, we're going to go into some other information on the discovery of these objects. So I started looking around a little bit, came over here to the WISE, Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer. Now they've used this massive telescope, probe, spacecraft, whatever you want to call it. They've used it to make a lot of discoveries, folks. A lot of discoveries related to brown dwarfs. And this goes all the way back to November 17th of 2009. The reason why I'm showing you this is very simple. There has been a lot of discoveries with these brown dwarfs for quite some time. It's my thoughts that as soon as more discoveries from people like myself and others, we start to uncover what is happening, the space agencies and the governments are going to say, hey, we told you about this. Well, no, you didn't exactly tell us about it. Not everybody goes to the WISE or NASA websites on a daily basis looking for this information. You're not publicizing it in press conferences. You're not publicizing it in the national media. So it's like a needle in the haystack, if you get my drift. Now, this is a comparison, not at scale, okay? So let's just get that through our heads. This diagram is not at scale. You're looking at our sun, a very large low-mass star, a brown dwarf, Jupiter, and the Earth. So they're basically giving you a size comparison. But again, this is not to scale. And again, this is on the WISE, Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer, dated for 2009. And they go on in this article to state, NASA's Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer, or WISE, will uncover many failed stars or brown dwarfs in infrared light. This diagram shows a brown dwarf in relation to Earth, Jupiter, a low-mass star, and the Sun. Stars with less mass than the Sun are smaller and cooler, and hence much fainter in visible light. Brown dwarfs are the smallest and coolest of stars. Now, folks, I had a lady send me an email, a rather heated email, a few days ago, basically telling me that myself and the doctor, we were full of crap. Well, she used another word. And the reason why she stated that is, she says, I'm looking every single night with my husband's binoculars, and I can't see anything. So how are you seeing these objects? Well, number one, I'm not using binoculars. I'm using what these space agencies allow us to use. And a lot of these space agency probes, spacecraft, telescopes, well, they're able to see these objects, but we have to find them before they cover them up. So no, I'm not using a pair of binoculars. I doubt very highly if you're going to see one of these objects 93, 94 million miles away, 100 million miles away, using a pair of binoculars. So, folks, binoculars do not see things in infrared light. Even if these brown dwarf stars were emitting a small amount of light, you're not going to see them with binoculars. It's just not going to happen. You may be able to look at the moon, but you're not going to see any type of brown dwarf star with binoculars. So anywho, so just so you know, NASA's been in search of these objects. They have been doing their homework quietly for quite a while. Let's move on back to January 8th, 2002 in the USA Today, Health and Science. Brown dwarf found orbiting star like the sun. Coming out of the USA Today, Washington, discovery of a brown dwarf orbiting close to a nearby sun-like star demonstrates that solar systems come in all shapes and sizes, astronomers say. Very interesting. Now they start talking about this brown dwarf star discovered orbiting the star 15 SGE in the constellation of Sagittarius. The brown dwarf star weighs in at about 65 times the mass of Jupiter, the largest planet in our solar system. Though huge, brown dwarfs lack the heft needed to light up with the nuclear fusion that powers true stars. Nowadays, folks, some people may debate that. And then it goes on to state that in recent years, astronomers have discovered about 80 giant planets orbiting nearby stars, but very few of the even more massive brown dwarfs have appeared at sizes about 13 times larger than Jupiter. A planet becomes a brown dwarf. And then it goes on to say today's announced brown dwarf orbits its star at about 1.3 billion miles, more than twice as close as previously discovered such object. So, looking at their little artist's rendition or their artist's conception, and again, that's not to scale or anything of that nature. But what it's showing you, ladies and gentlemen, is that they are and have been doing extensive research on these stellar remnants of our universe, of our galaxy. It's very interesting. We're going to move over to one more article. This is coming out of space.com. Another very interesting article dating back to April 28th of 2014. Once again, NASA discovers coldest brown dwarf neighbor of the sun. So this is what I'm saying, folks. They're basically going to come out and say, well, listen, we've been making these discoveries. We have publicized the information. Well, you know, publicizing this information on a website called space.com, to me, that's really not publicizing the information. News agencies around the world televising it, NASA coming out and holding a press conference on national TV around the world and saying, this is what we found. This is what we are researching. This is where your tax dollars are going. But they don't do that. Now it goes into talking about this cold brown dwarf. Once again, they were using NASA's Wide Field Infrared Survey Explorer known as WISE and the Spitzer Space Telescope. Let's take a look at this little diagram they have here. This is showing you the sun's closest neighbors that have been discovered. Let's go take a look at them. Barnard Star, discovered in 1916. Looks like a brown dwarf. Alpha Centauri, discovered in 1839, and Proxima Centauri, 1917. 4 light years away. Barnard Star is 6 light years away. Just on the outskirts of that, a WISE Discovery 10495319, discovered in 2013. And there's 2 of them together, rotating and orbiting each other. And then as far back as 2014 here, WISE 0855-0714, discovered in 2014. Now, as you can see down here, you have the sun. It shows the Oort cloud. And then it takes you out 2 light years, 4 light years, and 6 light years. I believe that's 5.8 trillion miles per light year. But the fact of the matter is, folks, they know all about these objects. But what they're not going to tell you is what is out there near the sun. We have to make the discoveries. They're not going to say, look what we found lurking near the sun. They're just not going to say it. And once again, let's get back to the binoculars, the binocular lady. And for people that do have telescopes, and expensive telescopes, I get the emails all the time. Scott, I'm looking at the sky. I'm looking at the sky with my telescope. Why can I not see any of these objects? One thing you have to remember before you send me these types of emails, or even make these types of comments, you're using your telescope or your binoculars to look at a tiny, tiny speck in outer space. So do you think that your telescope is going to just immediately pinpoint that object in the vastness of our solar system or our galaxy? Are you really that small-minded that you think that way? You can't just point your binoculars or your telescope to the sky and make that discovery. It just doesn't work that way, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm sure 99% of you understand that. But I just had to throw the binocular story in there because it was kind of a laugh. Also, often I get a lot of people that say, okay, why am I not seeing these objects? Well, okay, let's move back a little bit here. Let's move back to our daytime skies. Let's talk about geoengineering. Let's talk about the chemtrailing. Why are they spraying this crap and making these patterns, blocking out the sun each and every day? Now, there may be some days where they do not chemtrail in front of the sun, but they know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly where these objects are. They are tracking them. They have the technology to do so. So therefore, it's my theory that when they know that these objects may be captured with the naked eye, or even a camera or video camera, as the sun is setting and the lighting conditions are changing, and the possibilities that some of these brown dwarf stars, and folks, these stars are very small compared to the sun. So what are they hiding? I'm really not buying they're blocking out the sun to protect the earth from radiation, because if that's what they're doing a piss poor job at that. And why is it that they don't start this chemtrailing at night. I mean, I've seen them doing it at night. But where I live, it seems they come out at around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, between 3 and 4. And they start chemtrailing the living hell out of the sky, but only in front of the sun. Is it a possibility that they are definitely afraid that people are going to start seeing these objects? You're damn right. And they know it. And they've been doing this for a long time. Maybe they used this geoengineering for other purposes many, many years ago. But I truly believe that they are using the chemtrailing now to definitely hide and cloak these objects. Don't think for a minute, ladies and gentlemen, that they are not monitoring YouTube and these videos. That's why these types of channels, like mine, are not shut down. Because they are monitoring what we're doing, what we're saying, and what we're discovering. And they would actually be stupid to not monitor what we're doing and what we're finding. Because then they know how to counter what we are doing. You know, we already see them erasing data, eliminating it, covering it up, pixelating images. You're only going to do that if you want to deceive someone. That's the bottom line. So once again, today, on the 31st of July, 2017, some more small discoveries made lurking near our sun. But we have bigger problems on the horizon with this sunspot that will be turning towards our planet in about a week. And you're probably going to hear a lot about it in the days and the next few weeks to come. But I wanted to bring this information to all of you this morning. I just want to show you that each and every day we are striving to make these discoveries, whether they be small or large. I consider my job to report on this and to let you know what we're finding. That's my job. That's what I do. So anyways, folks, there it is. Head over to the Stereo website for NASA. I'll go right back to it. And you can pull up the information for yourself and take a look. Again, this is on the stereo imaging, stereo ahead, EUVI 304 angstrom. I put in the dates for the 29th through today, the 31st. And as you go through it, take a very close look. Start stepping through the images, frame by frame. And you'll make the discoveries, and you'll see them. And if by chance you do make a discovery, and you'd like to share it with myself and the doctor, you could always drop me an email at nibiru2016@gmail.com and let us check it out. But very, very interesting material coming this early Monday morning. This is Scott from Planet X News and the Nibiru channel. Thank you very much for watching.